My spouse and I have decided to get a divorce, but we just don't know how to do it. We don't want to fight. We're pretty much in agreement, but we just don't understand what we have to do. I hear this very often, and it isn't all that complicated, but there are some important points to consider. First of all, Florida is a no-fault divorce state. And that doesn't mean exactly what most people think it means. What it means is you are entitled to a divorce, or your spouse is, if either of you want the divorce. The other party can't stop you. You don't have to show any grounds of fault. That's what no fault means. Fault traditionally were things such as alcoholism, adultery, abuse, abandonment. Don't know why all those words start with A, but they do. That's gone. All you have to be able to say is that your marriage is irretrievably broken and there's no reasonable expectation of reconciliation. Now, having said that, how do you do what you have to do in order to get divorced? It all starts with the filing of a divorce petition. That's a lawsuit for divorce. But there are two paths to follow at that point. One is what we call the uncontested divorce. That's when you and your spouse agree on all issues that a judge would otherwise be called upon to decide. Those issues fall into three major categories. Children's issues, if you have children. Equitable distribution, if you have marital assets or liabilities to divide. And alimony, which would be appropriate in some cases. Under the children's issues, you also have child support. We're going to talk about the basics of each of those issues here today. A brief overview of the issues to be resolved is simple, but digging in deeper is more complicated, and we'll do that in some other videos. Florida is a shared parental responsibility state. That means both parents retain full rights and responsibilities for the children. We've tried as much as possible to take the word custody out of our body of law. Shared parental responsibility is a recognition that both parents will always be parents to these children. They both have equal rights and equal responsibilities. And so we no longer talk about who has custody. What we do work out is a parenting plan. And again, as I said, more about that later. To divide up the marital assets and liabilities, we talk about equitable distribution. You may have heard the term community property, but Florida is not a community property state. It is an equitable distribution state. In its simplest sense, equitable distribution says the court must equitably distribute all marital assets and marital liabilities. I'm going to talk about this in more detail too, but it's in its simplest form a four-step process. Identify the assets, classify the assets as marital or non-marital, value the assets, measures fair market value, and then distribute them. And the presumption in Florida is the distribution of the marital assets is 50-50. Alimony is alive and well in Florida, and it's based on need and ability to pay. The law says that neither party should pass from prosperity to misfortune or misfortune to prosperity as a result of the divorce. Some important factors to consider in determining alimony are the lifestyle of the parties enjoyed during the marriage, the length of the marriage, and many other factors that I will discuss in more detail later on. Child support, unlike alimony, is purely statutory. Once we determine what the net monthly incomes of each party are and what the particular time-sharing arrangement is, we feed the information into a computer and the formula tells us how much child support should be paid. That's it in a nutshell, but as I say, we'll dig deeper in some other videos. If you need more information, knowing that every case is different, give us a call, set up a consultation. We will take you through it. We will educate you to the fullest extent, and you will leave armed with the tools you need to go home and hopefully work out a reasonable and responsible settlement with your spouse without spending a small fortune on lawyers. Talk to you soon.